Hello. So I received your requests for when I send this. Oh yeah, put this post in Facebook asking you what was hurting you the most, like an emergency release. And there's a lot of things that even when they're painful are not to be released, like the joint pain. The joint pain. The problem that we have is that our joints are too mobile. So we don't want to do a release. What we want to do is release soft tissue. The soft tissue will be muscles and it will be fascia. Myofascia is the fascia that covers the muscle. But it's the fascia is actually going through the whole body, but to make it like simple to understand, um, not meaning that you can understand more difficult things, but there is a skin, there is a fascia, and there is a muscle in most of the areas. In other areas, it works a little different, but in any case, I'm going to take your list, that is right here, and I had a very long list, and one of them was arms. So arms can be in pain for many reasons. It can be the joint itself, but some people have told me that they want even to quit the protocol, the CUSA protocol, because they were getting more pain. And that makes sense when you have achieved the healing when you talk about the connective tissue, but the cast that your body has created to protect that joint, to make it less mobile, still is there. And you have to release it. Now, we talked about this before, and it's always a partial release until we feel that exercising to make it stronger is actually making us really like super tight. That's when we know we can do a full release. That's advanced in the CUSA protocol when you've been there for a while, when your connective tissue is acting like a normal connective tissue, and you have strengthening certain muscles, starting with the glutes medius to protect this joint in the back, which we did in video 1 and 2. So these are just emergency releases, and we're going to start with the arms. So let's say I feel pain in my arm. Normally, there's different kinds of pain. There is a pain when I can even move my arm, and that can be related to the muscles and to the fascia, to all of them. Because we think that if we hurt here, here's where the problem is. And sometimes it can be a tricep problem. It can be very, very tight. And many, many times it's fascia, which is another layer, like when we cut meat and we see this white layer that is not fat, and I'm sorry, that's gross, but that's the fascia. And that goes all over our body, and it's supposed to be like gelatin and super flexible, but when we have EDS, what happens is then it gets very hard in order to protect the joints, like I said before. So if we're going to release, let's say, the arm, there is 2 points in the arm. They are basic in terms of pain, or actually 3, and we're going to do them all using first this soft roll. And this soft roll has to be this flexible. If it's one of those hard rolls, you're going to hurt yourself. Those hard rolls are just for trigger point, are to be used very lightly for people that are doing weight training and things like that. We have to release fascia or muscle, and mostly under our condition, we can't use any of those hard things. So one of the big problems, even if we feel it or not, is that part of what we say, my arm hurts, is normally the rotator cuff, which is here in the back. We have no idea that anything is going on there, but the symptom that we have a problem in the rotator cuff is that we don't have strength in the arm. It's almost like we can even lift the weight of our own arm. And not necessarily because pain, but because we feel like we have lack of strength in there. So that's one problem. So that we're gonna fix it in two ways. Um, you're gonna have to get creative if you don't have something like this. Maybe a ball that is softer that you can use the same way. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay down. If this is the underarm, and I'm gonna go a little. So you can do this in your bed, right? Just careful. And you're gonna go back until you find a point of pain. I just did this. I think last night. Yeah. So as a self-care, so it's gonna be very difficult to find a pain. But here it is a small point. Now this is the attachment of the tricep almost, but I'm still very, very close and partially in my intercoastal. So you see, I'm not doing this, I'm going back. And then you're gonna feel it. Once you feel it, you stay a few seconds in there, and then you start to move in small circles. In one direction, and then in the other direction. And you come out. That alone will release this part here, which he will make your arm being able to move better. Now when that happens, normally the pain jumps here, boom, which is the frontal deltoid. When that happens, there's many things you can do with the frontal deltoid, but since I'm using this, I'm going to show you what to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay down on the arm like this. Be careful. People that have the tendency to sew locks, I have to do this very slowly. I'm putting my weight, but carefully. I'm not going all my weight. I weight a little bit like this. If you have to support your head, by all means do it. If you have to use your collar, by all means do it. And start to move to the front, like this, until you find a point of pain. I just found it right now. I didn't even know I had it. And I start to move in circles, and in the other way. Why are we not overdoing this? Because remember, we're just doing partial releases. Now, sometimes you're going to find that when you go this way, this is the frontal, right? And this is the side delta. And so you're going to go and do the same thing there. And find sometimes a point of pain. I don't find it. But if I did, I will do the same thing. Go in small circles. It means that I am moving in small circles on top of this roller. And in the other direction. And that's the release of the deltoids. And this area here, that is part of the, what did I say? The rotator cuff. But the rotator cuff has a problem that I'm going to show you where it's at. When you see the back here, you can see it in a mirror. This is the scapula. These wings that we have are the scapula. And there's a spine in the scapula, which means there's a line that goes transverse in the scapula and has a muscle on top and another muscle in the bottom. There's a big chance that both muscles are contracted because all these muscles are trying to support this joint here. So they're all contracted, right? So what we're gonna do now, and I'm using a soft ball. At this point, I don't use a soft ball anymore. What I use is actually a hard ball like this, but you can use a soft ball when you're starting and when you are doing partial relief. So what you're gonna do, oh my gosh, this is getting over. You're gonna put the ball down, and you're gonna lay down on the scapula. If it's a soft ball, you don't have to worry so much. Like if it's a hard ball, you have to know exactly what the spine is, so you don't make a big pressure in the spine. It's very, very small chance in that case that you can hurt yourself a little, but not with this soft thing. You cannot hurt yourself. So what you do, and you can do this in the wall too. For people who tell me I don't find a way to support myself doing this on the floor, by all means do it in the wall. It's the exact procedure. Just find the points against the wall. And then the border of the scapula. So palpate yourself and see, okay, here's bone, and it goes all the way back, and it starts to go in a small movement, and you're gonna find a very painful point at one point. And you stay in the point, and you wait. So my legs are getting tired. I'm gonna put my relic here, and put a pillow, and you're gonna sink. You're gonna let your body sink a little bit in it, and you're gonna start to move in circles in one direction and the other, and then you're gonna move a little farther until you find another point. I found one that I wouldn't consider pain. It's starting to contract, obviously, so I'm gonna stay there a few seconds, and then I'm gonna go circles in one direction and the other. When I say circles in one direction, your body's moving this way, and then it's moving clockwise and then counterclockwise. But it's a very small movement, the one that I'm doing there. I'm gonna go a little higher now, because what I'm trying is to cover all the scapula. And then, now that I'm higher, I'm gonna do the same thing. I found a point right there. This has a lot to do with shoulder pain. See where I am? And this would shoot pain here, and it will shoot pain up here. And sometimes you say, well, you know, my shoulders are hurting, and not really, the problem is not really there. The problem is in the scapula. That's very, very common, or in the rotator cuff. And we already said, did something for that. So that should be released there. We are not going to stay there to release it completely yet. Now the variation of what we did with the roller, with this bowl, it's just going to be a little deeper. You see, there? If I feel that's not doing it, then I'm going to go a little deeper, and I'm going to lay down on it. If I need to put my pillow, I put my pillow. If you want to do it against the wall, it's a little difficult against the wall if you're having arm pain, because you're going to have to stay with your arms, sustaining your arm, and that's going to be a little hard, I guess. But everybody has to find their comfort zone to do it. And there you go. So that will release the shoulder. It will release partially pain in the arms. It will release pain, partially pain. Sometimes people have pain up here, and it comes from those areas in the scapula. So I'm gonna say, when I check my list, and then of course when you have arm pain, and it's here, like typical signs of when they say, oh, you have fibromyalgia because you have these points of pain here. There is many ways to do it. You can do it even on a table, with a roller on a table. But I like to do it. I like to do it on the floor. And you have to find ways that you accommodate yourself. I'm going to use this arm, and I'm going to put my arm this way and go until I find a point of pain that normally is very close to the elbow. Once I find a place that has a little pain, I'm going to start to go into it. There it is. And then I'm going to start to move in circles. Ouch. That's, I didn't even notice that. And then the other way. I'm going to stay a little longer there. And that's it. So that has released this area too. If you want to do the bottom, then you can put this on a table, or in anything that you don't have to bend so much, and then roll your arm this way. I'm going to show you. I will show you how to do it, but you don't have to do it like I'm doing it. You can do it standing up on a high surface, and you're going to do this. If you find a point of pain, which you normally will, stay in the point of pain. You have to go a little bit outwards or inwards, whatever you have to do, as long as you're not twisting your body in a way it's hurting you. You find, there it is, one of pain. That's in my triceps. And that's releasing right now. I'm going to start to move in circles, one way, the other way. As I said, I was a ballet dancer and I did exercises for 15 years, and I love to be on the floor to do this, but you can do it on a table. You can put this on a table. You can do this exercise in your bed. You can do these exercises against the wall. I wouldn't recommend the arms against the wall, other than if you're doing the side of the arm and you're using this. This is difficult to control. It's easy with a ball, right? So that. A lot of you have asked me how to release the glutes or the piriformis, but are on the same area. So this area up here is the gluteus medius. And right here, like in the dimple, is the piriformis. What happened with the piriformis is the piriformis goes on top of the sciatic nerve. So when it is very tight, you compress the sciatic nerve, and you can have this shooting pain going all the way down to your knees. When the pain goes down all the way to your ankles, most of the time is a problem with the sciatic nerve itself. It can be entrapped somewhere else. But when it goes just to the knee, and it's difficult to know, you have ideas, but sometimes everything hurts. But when the shooting pain goes from here to the knee, or from the back actually to the knee, then it can be just piriformis syndrome, and that's very simple actually to fix. So what you do, and we have done it in another video with a soft ball like this one. I'm going to use a hard ball. That's how I do it. You don't have to do it that way in the beginning, but this is going to let me show you better what I mean. Where I'm going to go, and this can be absolutely done against the wall. Like I said, same thing. And if you have problems with a very soft ball against the wall, by all means, because you're not going to use all your weight because gravity is not helping you, then you can use like the tennis ball, and that'll be fine. I'm going to go like this and find the point, and there it is. And then I'm going to go in circles, one way, the other way. And now I'm going to go to the gluteus medius now, which is higher. Be very careful that you don't go too high, because you don't want to be in the iliac crest. You want to be on the muscle. And now you're going to go the same thing. There's pain because I was just exercising my gluteus medius like every day. And then I go one way, the other way. Now, some pain, that what people refer to hip pain, most of the time they are referring to pain that goes in the joint between the leg and the hip, and it's here. And it has a lot to do with the psoas. The psoas is a muscle that actually attaches here in the front of the leg, goes through our body, opens up in a muscle that some people don't believe is like part of the seat muscle, but this is a muscle that goes into another muscle. The attachment is not in the bone. It's in one side of the bone, and the other is the psoas. So this is the psoas, goes from here, crosses the body, and attaches here in the back. So when this muscle is short and contracted, it does this to us and opens the joint here, the SI joint, which is always a problem, right? And it starts to pull the legs, and even you can feel like a pelvic pain, and it happens to be the psoas. But before we do that, we're just going to release the front here of the attachment, and then we're going to go and release the psoas as we can do it by ourselves. There's other ways that are more advanced, and I'm going to try to teach it later. But since you have to make sure that the organs are not in the way, it's kind of complicated to teach that. But this one won't be a problem. So when I'm talking, again, you're going to start with this ball to do what I'm going to do right now. I'm using this one because it's easier for you to see and to understand. And this is the one that I use at this point. So you're going to roll into the joint almost and start to move around. Try to find where the pain is, and there is the pain. So now this is a fascial pain. The fascia is going on top of the joint that is causing this horrible, it's a very, very sharp pain. So I'm going to start to move to the outside a little. You can do this, like say, in your bed. You can use tons of pillows to level you up, whatever you need to do. This way. This is difficult to do against the wall, by the way. And I'm going back this way. I found another point of pain there. I go in circles and back. This is my iliac crest. The bone is on top. The border is on top. I'm not on the border. I'm not pressing on the border of the bone. I am actually around the joint with the leg, the hip. And I go back and tremendous release. Even when there is pain in one side and not in the other, sometimes what's happening is that I'm having more pain in the weakest side. But actually the one that is suffering more and working harder is the side that is not hurting. So we have to do both, and just enough so we get the sharp pain away and we calm down that pain, and just always try to do both sides. The next one is so important is the psoas. So the psoas, if I don't liberate the psoas, then I'm going to always be in pain, because we use the psoas to walk, to sit, to stand up, to absolutely everything. It has a lot to do with the way that we breathe. It's a very complex, you guys should read about it. I'll put some information about the psoas muscle. It's a basic muscle to understand and to treat pain in general. So I'm going to go on my side, on my waist, where my waist is. That's where the psoas is. But I'm going to go first to the back. Open my arm. You can put pillows here, whatever helps you. You should put a pillow between your legs so you don't have extra pressure. But in any case, when you do this, when you go back, you're going to feel. I won't, because I always feel in my psoas. It's like obsessed with my psoas. I don't feel pain there, but most people will feel pain there. So I'm laying down, and I'm laying down in between my hip and my ribs. And now I'm going to start to move forward in the same depth. When I'm like, this is very deep now, but this is a soft object, right? And I'm going to start to move forward this way, very slowly, and keeping the depth. And why? Because I don't want to squish my bowels. These bowels are slippery, and they're going to move away if I give them the chance. So I'm moving very slowly, and there I have a little vein. Ooh. And so I start to move tiny. I don't have to move in circles here. It's very, very deep muscle here where I am right now. And I go in my back. And I'm done. So now, from here, there's a lot of people that have problems with putting a bra on, because the muscles in between the ribs, I don't want to get all anatomical. So there's muscles between the ribs, they have to expand when I breathe. So my diaphragm expands, but this muscle here have to expand too, and sometimes they're contracted and they hurt horribly. So when I'm working on my psoas, instead of coming out, what I can do is diminish the pressure a little bit, because I don't want to put a lot of pressure on my ribs. And I'm going to do this. Now you see, I'm going to my side. My breast is on top, so I'm not squishing it. It's the side. And there you're going to find a point of pain. It's similar to what we were doing, but we were doing it for the arm, like much higher. Here's the side. The side. And I can do that just because this is soft. I could never do this with a hard object or with a medicine ball that I was using before, because it's just too harsh to be in between the ribs or on the ribs. That. It feels so good. After a release, we shouldn't feel any pain. If we feel pain, it's rather because we went too far into the release and was more than a partial release. It was maybe a total release. And now our joint is going, oh no, I don't have support. Or I overdid it and I need to put ice on it. So if I ice it for a few minutes, I'll be fine. Now the trick of all tricks is this. latex free, whatever works for whatever whoever has some kind of allergies. These are latex free actually. And this is going to be for a TMJ. I'll show you other things for the TMJ later on, but this is not just for the TMJ, it is for the release of the fascia. Let's say my arm is hurting here horribly. I don't know how to get here. I'm going to pinch it and twist it. Pinch it and twist it. And because I'm using the rubber gloves or whatever material I find that they have grip, then this is going to release. So now, this is what I'm doing here. I can do it the same in my legs, right? And if I'm going to do it in my legs, I'm going to put 2 gloves, and I'm going to do this. What I'm doing is breaking the cast, the scar tissue that has formed in the fascia, and then it's not letting me move freely. Everything is shorter because of that. So I can always do this. Why the gloves? Because if I do it with my hands, it's going to be slippery and I'm going to need more strength. With the gloves, you just grab. If you still are in too much pain in your arms or in your hands to do it, have someone do it. Just teach them to do this, whatever the pain is. Let's say it's in my knees, the base in my knees. So I'm going to start to pinch, never in the back here. No, this needs someone that knows, that has training. In the sides, I'm going to start to do this. Pinch it and twist it. You have no idea the relief that this will give you, because a lot of this pain that we have is a cast that our fascia is creating. So when we do this, there's a lot of people that have pain here. So you do this. You pinch and twist. Don't pinch your veins here. I'm not doing the neck right now. It's here, here, here. You are not going to believe how much pain you're going to find so many places in your body. You can go all the way here on top of the psoas. Remember that if the muscle's tight, most likely the fascia on top is tight too. So you do all this to break it. Now, that's a fantastic trick to be able to treat yourself, because otherwise you need a lot of strength to do that. Another thing is that you can calculate how much you want to release with this. It's like there's some tools called like what is it called? The fascia blast. They're fantastic for athletes. But if we break the whole thing at once, we're going to be in trouble. We don't want to do that. So for people that have TMJ, this is something that's going to help you a lot. You're going to put your hand here, one hand, the other one with the glove. It's going to go inside the mouth, so I might not be able to speak clearly now, so you just have to watch. Here, on the ground muscle. Here. Now, it's this muscle here that I'm grabbing, right? Now, I'm taking my hands out so you can understand. I was grabbing a muscle here, and I'm going to grab it and pull it. And remember, it's a partial release. Let's not get like, oh, it's releasing, and then it's all release at all, because this is one that won't cause so much trouble because there's no higher structures, like very, very few things. They're supporting, but we'll still have to be careful. So we do this. Slowly. Then we go higher, like in an angle, 45 degrees. We find another structure there. There's a muscle, and we go with this finger holding down. The third one is 45 degree low here. You're gonna feel it like a fibrous part, and then you pull. You can feel it in both sides, always in both sides. Now you can go a little lower, and be very careful with that. This is the bone of the jaw, and I'm working here. I'm not working in the edge. I'm working here. And what I'm gonna do is a few circles here and here. When you have a horrible headache, you can still use this if you want. There's points around the eyes. They have the muscles around the eyes get very tight. Excuse me? Okay. And you press, you find the point. Once you find the point, you go in circles. Maybe just in one eye, in the other eye. In this way. You find the point, press in circles, release. If you didn't release enough, you go back to it. And the last one that I want to show you is for the TMJ2, and it goes this way. You can use books, anything that you need. Open your mouth. There. And that helps tremendously with the TMJ2. I hope these releases have helped you. In the next video, I will be doing release of the legs and the other, the upper traps and other areas. I hope you heal smoothly and happily. Bye.